Today, I was able to catch the very top of Wells Fargo and I shorted it right at the best price and captured profit at two levels. I traded four stocks today and two of them were winners and two of them losers, but because I keep my losers small and my winners at least three times as big as my losers, today was a profitable day. So let's get to it. Wells Fargo was on my watch list today because I believe they have a new CEO. Charles Scharf, I believe that's his name. He's taken over as CEO, and the stock was up about 3% in the pre-market. And so when I trade off the 2-minute chart. I have the 5-minute, the 15-minute, and the daily chart. So in the pre-market, I went and marked up all the price levels where the price could have some type of reaction, and so I had pre-market marked, or a pre-market high marked, a pre-market low marked, and this level right here, this line, this blue line, is a price that I found on the daily chart. If we look on the daily chart right here, there's a gap at this price right here. Anyway, this was the last trade that I made this morning, my fourth trade, and it was a nice winner. So what I saw was it moved up, and when we got to this level that I knew that could potentially act as a resistance, that's why I had it marked on my chart. I saw this tail, this topping tail on this bar, and I put my risk right here and I just went short. I hit the hotkey, bam, and I trusted. Well, the thing with trading is when we place a trade, we have to be okay. We have to be subconsciously okay with whatever we're risking. And my risk was right here, 51.42, and I got in and it dropped. I covered about half of my position at 51.02. So I got in at 51.32. I locked in half of my profit at 51.02 because it could come to 51 and then bounce higher, because usually whole numbers, they act as potential support and resistance. So in this case, it could have came down to 51 and then whoop, moved higher. So I did not want that to happen to me, so I locked in half of my profit, and the remaining half I captured exactly at the low of this pullback at VWAP, because VWAP acts as support and resistance. So I locked in the rest at VWAP and I was done with it. This was a nice profit. Made my day. It was way more than 3 times the amount of what I needed to get from it, because whatever I risk, I have to get at least 3 times the amount, and this was about 4 times the amount, because I sold, or I covered my position in 2 places. But so let's get the first trade was on AMD. AMD is a stock that I trade all the time. It's on my watch list, and I try, I'm kind of hesitant about nowadays taking trades in the first like 5. What time did I take this trade? This trade was at 9:35. Yeah, so I rather not take trades like at 9:35 or before that, but sometimes I do. And today, I definitely jumped the gun, but it's fine as long as I stick with my 4 trades. That's what counts. And what I saw was buyers in the open just pushed the price higher, and then sellers came in, the red bar, they tried pushing it down, but then buyers just pushed it up. This long bottoming tail implies buying pressure, and this line right here is pre-market low, which could act as support. In this case, it's clearly support. The price bounced off this level once, twice, three times, and then once I saw the buyers engulfing the sellers, and we're above all the moving averages, the 200, the 50, the 20 VWAP, and we were above pre-market high. This line right here is pre-market high. In pre-market, it got to this price and it sold off. And pre-market high also acts as support and resistance. In this case, it was resistance. Once we got above that, I went long, hit my hotkey. Literally, my risk was about. So I got in at 29.31. My risk was at 29.27. So I was risking about 4 cents or so per share. So I was kind of heavy. I had a lot of shares, and it popped up. And I knew that this line right here, this dotted horizontal line, which is previous closing price, was going to act as a major resistance. But because my risk was so small, I knew that if we got to this price, I would be super profitable, and the trade was worth taking a risk on. And what I saw was we popped up, but then we came down, and I didn't like this topping tail, which implies selling pressure, and we were very close to this potential resistance, so I sold everything. I didn't quite capture exactly three times my risk, but it was close to it. I could have held, but I knew that I jumped the gun because I don't like trading in the first like 5 minutes or so. So I was kind of nervous about the trade, because you want your first trade to be a winner, because if your first trade is a loser, and then psychologically it could mess you up. So I just captured the money and I ran with it. So that was AMD. The next trade was on MU. So MU was a stock that I was watching. In fact, I posted about it on my Instagram page yesterday, Devoted Day Trader, and I said that the stock was gonna go to 45 at the very least, and even go below 45, and that's what it did. But I still screwed up the trade. I still screwed up the trade. So I had these levels marked. In the open, we sold off. We popped up, and then so I went short at this level right here. I believe at 45.29, and I jumped the gun. Because I missed this entire move because I was too early to the party. And the reason I went short was because sellers sold it down. Buyers tried making a comeback. Sellers said nope. And then this topping tail. Buyers tried pushing the stock higher. We got to VWAP, this black line, and then we dropped. Sellers pushed it down. When we see this long topping tail, it means selling pressure. Right here, when we see this bottoming tail, it means buying pressure. And I was watching MU because it announced that it's moving forward. Their forecast is looking weak because of the China and U.S. Trade war. They're a chip making company, similar to AMD, Micron Technology. That's what they are called. So I got in right here, and then once it popped up, I got out for a small loss. I should have waited until we got to this black line, this VWAP, to get short. If I had done that, I could have captured this entire move, but what can you do? So that one was a loser. And CCL, a stock that I traded yesterday, which I call my second day play, I also jumped the gun on this one. I'm not proud with how I handled this trade. So this was the third trade that I made. Keep in mind, the first one on AMD was a winner, the second one on AMU was a loser, and then CCL, let's say Carnival Corporation, they announced earnings yesterday, and they sold off pretty hard yesterday. I was actually able to capture a big move yesterday. I did a recap on it on yesterday's recap. So today what I saw was a CCL was just moving higher. In the open, we just kept moving higher and higher and higher and higher. And then once we got to this dotted line, which is previous closing price, meaning that the price yesterday for CCL closed at this price, 43.95. And I saw that once we made a move up, we started drifting down, and then we popped up. Once we popped up, I hit my hotkey with my risk right below here. And I'm not supposed to chase prices, but that's what I did, and I paid for it. Why? Because I pretty much got in at the high of this bar, and it did pop up by about 10 cents or so, but I needed, because my risk was about 20 cents, I needed 60 cents from it. I needed 60 cents before I could capture profit, because whatever I risk, I have to get 3 times the amount. And sure enough, it came down and I got stopped out. But because I keep my losers small and my winners bigger, 3 times bigger, this day was a profitable day. I batted 50%, so 2 losers, 2 winners, 2 losers, 2 winners. But because I keep my losers small and my winners 3 times as big at the very least, today was a profitable day. Thank you for watching. I will see you next week.